Samsung's Fan Edition, or FE series as it's better known, has been built on a simple premise. Take flagship grade features and package them into a device that retails at the sort of upper mid-range prices that are decidedly lower than their current flagship lineup. Back in 2020, Samsung launched the S20 FE with all the premium hygiene features that one would miss in its price segment. Stuff like IP68 dust and water resistance and wireless charging. But it was the follow-on S20 FE 5G that launched in India last year that really nailed the brief. The S20 FE 5G offered arguably the most complete and balanced package if you were in the market for something in the range of 40 to 50 grand. And the inclusion of a top-tier Qualcomm mobile chipset sealed the deal for many people. We're now in 2022, a year since the launch of the S21 series and a couple of days away from this S22 lineup. And Samsung has given us this, the S21 Fan Edition. Samsung stuck to the tried and tested formula with the S21 FE, sticking to what it's seen work earlier. Well, almost. Let's see how it fares and answer the more important question, is it the right time to buy this phone? I'm Tushar Kanwar and this is my review of the S21 FE 5G. Before we begin, here's the lowdown on the current prices of the S21 FE 5G. You can pick from two 8GB memory variants, one with 128GB storage for 54,999 and the other with 256GB of storage for 58,999. Plus there are cashback offers that knock off about 5,000 rupees from the official prices. The most obvious change from its predecessor is how the S21 FE adopts the design language of the S21 series, with that distinctive contour cut camera module making an appearance. Of course, you're talking about a whole lower price category here. So the back panel is plastic and not glass. Glastic as Samsung calls it, and the camera module is plastic in place of metal, which in turn doesn't extend from the metal frame quite as much or quite in the same way as it does on the pricier siblings. Don't get me wrong, it's still a premium look, only not as much. I quite like the matte black finish on the graphite variant, but there's always the olive, lavender or the white trim if you want something livelier. It's the ergonomics that tipped the argument in the S21 FE's favor. It's smaller, slimmer and lighter when compared to the previous generation. Even on its own, its rounded edges, the 177 gram weight and 7.9 mm thickness allows it to be comfortable to grip and use on the daily. No headphone jack or micro SD card slot though. The latter is something that we saw in last year's model. But there's IP68 dust and water protection and support for wireless charging, both of which are unique to this phone in its price range. On flagships, it feels like a hygiene factor, but in this category, these two factors could be a strong reason for you to consider the S21 FE if having them matters to you. Now, in a world of ever-increasing display sizes, it's unusual for the S21 FE to have gone for a smaller by comparison 6.4-inch display. But the sleek bezels maximize the screen real estate and allow the S21 FE to be compact and pocket-friendly, and not just on your wallet. The Dynamic AMOLED 2X display is a hallmark Samsung display. 1080p resolution, plenty bright at 1200 nits, with rich contrast, good viewing angles and HDR10 Plus support, and a snappy 120Hz refresh rate, all of which contribute to a slick everyday use and a good gaming and multimedia experience. Oh, and there's a reasonably loud dual speaker setup for all the times you couldn't be bothered to reach over for your headphones. And the haptics are excellent as well. Under the hood is the same Exynos 2100 chip that powers the flagship S21 series, along with 8GB of LPDDR5 memory and up to 256GB of fast UFS 3.1 storage, which wouldn't have had anyone bat an eyelid under normal circumstances. I mean, you're getting the same chip that's in the twice as pricey S21 Ultra, right? What's happened is that Samsung's packed in the latest Qualcomm chips in the recent foldables lineup and even in the previous Gen S20 FE 5G. Which came with a Snapdragon 865 chip. So there were fans who had hoped for the India variant of the S21 FE to come with the latest Snapdragon 888 chip. Having used the phone though, going with the Exynos 2100 chip may have actually worked in favor of Samsung. Although the Samsung chip is surpassed by the Qualcomm chip in terms of pure performance, it does offer a good balance of performance and thermal efficiency, a fact that we've seen work against some Snapdragon 888 phones which simply can't keep their cool. In daily use, I quite enjoyed using the S21 FE, whether it was for gaming on COD or asphalt, or taking it out to shoot videos or photo. The phone just doesn't disappoint. There is the occasional throttling and slight warmth on the rear panel with sustained gaming, but nothing to complain about under most normal circumstances. It runs Android 12 with One UI 4.0 on top, which I've often said is a testament to how well Samsung is getting the software upgrades game right. There's even support for the DeX platform, which allows you to share content to a larger screen and use the phone like a PC. Battery life is decent, with the phone's 4500 mAh battery lasting till the end of the day, unless you've had a couple of heavy gaming sessions. You can drop this on to the wireless charger for 15-watt charging or plug it in for 25-watt charging, and it takes about an hour and a half plugged in. Nowhere close to the insane charging speeds other brands are going to town about these days. Unlike the S20 FE 5G, the S21 FE doesn't come with a charger in the box, which is a definite bummer. Coming to the cameras, the S21 FE ships with the same set of cameras as the S20 FE, a 12 megapixel primary with OIS, another 12 megapixel ultra wide, and an 8 megapixel telephoto with OI. In good light, the S21 FE takes good photos that are best described as pleasing. Colors tend to lean towards oversaturated, but there's plenty of detail and good dynamic range. The ultra-wide takes good images and lines up along the primary camera in terms of color science, while the telephoto offers you a serviceable zoom level in the 3x to 5x zoom range. And you'd be happy as long as you don't push it to the 30x space zoom. Low-light shots were pretty impressive for the price segment, but it was the low-light selfies from the 32MP selfie shooter that really impressed. Now here's the rub. The S21 FE is an extremely competent phone, one that checks all the boxes in terms of performance and features, and even offers stuff like wireless charging and IP68 dust and water resistance, which is missing in phones at this price point. Not to mention, Samsung is fast becoming my go-to for prompt software updates as well. But it's landed at the wrong time, both in terms of existing competition from within the family and the new S22 lineup that's due to land soon. Crucially, the phone it was meant to replace, the S20 FE 5G, has a few extra inclusions by way of expandable storage, a bundled charger in the box, and slightly better battery life, which still make it an excellent phone to pick up at under 40 grand. You can even take a look at the standard S21, which has dropped to the same price point and offers slightly better camera performance. With the S21 FE 5G, I'm going to suggest what each crypto bro offers up as advice these days. Wait for the dip and then pick it up. If you enjoyed our review of the S21 FE 5G, do consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and liking and sharing this video with all your friends. And for more tech gadget coverage, keep coming back to Indulgexpress.